So a lot of times, like if I'm gonna take a dog that has any sort of like fear issues of new people or whatever it may be, and I need them to get comfortable with somebody, the first thing that a lot of people want to do is like, hey puppy, how's it going? Stick their hand out, things like that. The problem is that's the #1 place where people get bit by dogs, especially fearful dogs, because you're doing something dominant, which is going into their territory, right? And then when you get there, you're doing something really soft and weak, right? So if you have a dog that perceives that incorrectly, they can be like, okay, wait, you're doing something really pushy to me, and then when you get there, you're acting weak, right? You're acting weird or different or whatever it may be, so they tend to try to act a little bit more dominantly back to you and snap or lunge or bite or whatever it may be. So in this case, we're kind of trying to get her into a subordinate state of mind before I go to actually interact with her. So she's thinking differently, right? She's not thinking protect, protect, protect. She's thinking comply, 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 right?
Exciting things here.
So many smells, so many sounds.
It's funny, I just went to Walmart before I came in. I was like, I think that's him.
Oh, yeah. There we go. So her shoulder's kind of touching my leg now. So we've kind of bridged some contact, so I'm able to interact a little bit here. Very good. Okay. All right, so what we're gonna do in a second here is we're gonna start introducing this collar. So I'm assuming she's obviously never been on one of these before. So what we wanna do is we wanna start to teach her what this pressure means, right? So the idea with the prong collar is not necessarily that it's like the bigger hammer or anything. Like I said, it's simply something that we can communicate with less pressure with, right? So when she gets in those overly aroused states of mind, she understands very clearly if she feels that pressure in one direction or another, whatever it may be, that it means something, right? She can pay attention to it and she realizes that she has control over it, right? She has the ability to turn it on and off and you know, knows how to move with it in a way where it's non-aversive to her essentially. It's just information. So what I'm gonna do in a second is I'm gonna switch over to this collar. I'm gonna start walking just kind of randomly around the room here. And every time she gets distracted by something, I'm just gonna apply a little bit of pressure in my direction in as parallel of a direction as possible. And I'm gonna relieve that tension when she starts moving with me, right? So I want her understanding that when she feels it, not opposing it, but moving with it is what turns that pressure off. And I'm gonna make it a very active release like that, right? So I'm gonna be actively letting that leash back to her. So I'll have you hang out over there for a second. And then okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take my time with this now. Just like I got it. I got it. Little pressure, relieving that pressure. Good. Same deal, little pressure. Good, and relieving it. And I'm just using like a fingertip amount of pressure there, right? A bit of pressure, holding, just waiting, and relieving it. Good. Nice. Oop. And right now I'm not worried about left hand side, right hand side, in front of me, behind me, anything like that. I just care about her moving with the leash. And ideally what we should see is she gets more and more comfortable sticking with me as we do this, right? I'm starting to kind of shorten that leash as she does better with it, just getting her closer to me and not as hesitant to be in that space. Good. Should also start to see her responding to less and less pressure as we go on. Nice. Come on. Nice. Good. And as I'm doing this, I'm almost going to be trying to lose her, right? Come on. Nice. Come on. And do a little pressure. Good. Same concept. She's getting looser and looser staying in my bubble, right? And that's because she's starting to see me as something different, right? I'm not just some guy that's you know, trying to cuddle with her and pet her and stuff like that. I'm resembling direction, and I'm showing her what's scary and what's not scary, right? So if she's nervous of that dog over there and hesitant to walk in that direction, or of Josh over there, or whatever it may be, I'm gonna be able to guide her through that and show her not through, you know, like conflict or pain or anything like that, that we're going to force her into that situation, but we're just gonna show her that it's not scary, right? If something over here, like say Josh, right? She has to stay in this direction. And because of that, I'm taking away her ability to flee, right? And because of that, it's giving her the option to then explore it a little bit more. Good, come on, nice. And each time I kind of push her past, you know, a state where she's like, you know, I'm uncomfortable with this, or thinks it's scary or whatever, and I kind of, you know, help her through it and show her it's not that big of a deal, that's gonna build her confidence not only in herself, but in me, right? If I show her that, say, she's hesitant to come near this door, if I show her that there's nothing scary near this door, right? I know you're hesitant to go near it, but nothing scary happens when I get you to go there. She'll be like, oh, okay, I can do that, right? It's not that big of a deal. Very good. Okay, I'm gonna shorten this even a little bit more here. And now this is really getting into her kind of staying in a nice heel position for the most part. Good.
How much are either her pulling me or me pulling her?
Yeah. That's just it, right? All that constant nagging and stuff, like, it's not good. It doesn't help anything. Come on. Come on. Good. Okay, so a second here, I'm gonna start adding a little sit into this. Come on. So I'm gonna come to a stop. I'm gonna apply a tiny bit of pressure up. Sit. And then I'm gonna relieve that pressure when her butt hits the ground, right? So I wanna show her same concept. In addition to straight lines her having control over, up and down means something also, right? Sit or down. And it's very clear that that off switch is the second her butt hits the ground here. Okay, come on. And on those turns and stuff, I wanna start to see, if possible, her moving with me before she feels the leash, right? So when I turn like that, I want her turning and making that conscious decision to stay with me, not because the leash did it, but because she did it, right? Same deal, coming to a stop, sit, good. Okay. Sit, good. Sit. Nice. Right, so next what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a bed here as kind of like a trust hurdle. So just like we talked about, each time we can show the dog something that they perceive as scary isn't that scary, the more they're gonna build confidence in themselves and in us. So in this case, we have a new surface here, right? A lot of dogs are really weird of it. They're like, what the heck is this thing? Why is there metal around it? Why is there mesh on it? So first thing I want to do here is just let her explore it. If she gets on her own, great. She may not be as scared of it as some dogs are. If she doesn't, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the leash pressure that I just established here to help her onto it, right? I'm not going to force her or drag her onto it here. I'm just going to take away her option of really doing anything else other than get onto it, right? So I'm going to kind of just circle it here a little bit. Use a little bit of leash pressure to keep her somewhat close to it. And then what I want to do is I want to show her that I want her to move over it. You can see she's hesitating. She's trying to find ways around it here. So all I'm doing is applying a little bit of pressure in this direction and seeing what she does. And she's thinking about it. And then same deal, she tries to go around it. I'm just going to readjust myself. Good. So one paw there. Second that paw started coming up, I relieved that pressure. Come on. Good. Same deal, pressure's off, and then I'll let her skip over it herself there. So same deal, something she perceived as really scary there, I helped her through it in a fairly non-confrontational way. So now what we're gonna see is the next couple of repetitions should get a little bit quicker. There we go, good. Still hesitant, but a lot quicker. And same deal, we'll do another one here. Good. Nice. So again, this has nothing to do with bed really, right? Yeah, we're teaching her how to get on the bed, but this solely has to do with trust right now. I need her to trust me that I'm gonna put her in certain situations that she may perceive as scary, but she needs to follow my guidance and know that I'm not gonna put her in something that's gonna be like traumatizing to her or anything, right? Come on. Good. A little quicker that time. And what we should start to see is this gets even easier here. Come on. Good. Nice. And then what I want you to watch is how our body language changes over the next couple of reps. Good job. Sit. Good. She's getting really comfortable with me interacting with her, which is good. Okay, come on. Let's go. Sit. Good. Good job. Okay. Sit. Good. All right, so next thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do this doorway. I wanna make sure she's gonna wait well at the doorway here. And then what we'll do is I'm gonna have you start jumping into this with her then. So same deal, walking up to it, opening the gate. First things first, I wanna make sure she's waiting, right? I'm not worried about the sit yet here. I wanna make sure she's not trying to rush through it.
She's very good at that.
She is?
No, like sarcastically.
Okay. So now that I have her waiting, I can put her in a sit if I want to, right? Sit. Good. Okay. And I'm gonna do that a couple of times going through. So same deal, door first. Making sure she's waiting. Then I can tell her, sit. Wrong one. Okay. And then I could bring her over here, get her back on. Sit. Nice. Okay, come on. Again, this is all about confidence building here. Come on. Oop. It's a little pressure, then sit. Okay, come on. Same deal. Oop. Nice. Okay. Sit. Okay. Sit. Okay, come on. Come, let's go. Come on. Nice. Now we're friends. Now we're friends. Yeah, I see that. All right, you're up. Comfortable with you, but because she's more comfortable with you, she's more distracted, right? She sees you as her best friend, right? Somebody that she's cool with and likes, but like isn't used to taking a whole lot of like strict direction from you. So we're trying to get her attention just more on you and her seeing you a little bit more so in that light, right? Because the problem is it's great and everything that she likes you and is comfortable with you, but unless she truly feels like you're gonna be consistent with direction and rules and boundaries and stuff like that, she's not gonna take you seriously when she's scared about something, right? Perfect. And this is kind of the same concept when we're out on the walk, right? So she wants to sniff this and that, and this and that. We want to tell her, just mind your own business right now, right?
She must sniff everything.
Yeah. And that's a big thing, right? So because she's sniffing everything and because she's off doing all those things, she's also deciding what of those things she's sniffing she's okay with and isn't okay with. We're telling her right now, don't worry about any of it. Like we said, the exciting things, less exciting, the scary things, less scary. That's kind of what we're going for right now. We want neutrality. So we want her neutral to the outside surroundings and the environment and stuff.
Interacting with people and other dogs.
Yeah. Same deal when you're out on your walks. Right now, she technically should be just doing her own thing, right? I wouldn't let her be meeting a lot of other dogs or other people and stuff like that, because again, we're looking for neutrality here. And the problem is, though she may be friendly with the other dogs, you know, same concept. If the other dogs aren't friendly with her, and if she's getting snapped at in certain situations, sometimes that could, you know, put her in a position where she starts losing trust in us. And then same concept with the other people, right? So if you think about it, she's on a pretty short leash there, right? So even though technically she has 4 or 5 feet of slack on it, when she's on a leash, if somebody's interacting with her, another dog's coming up to her, and for whatever reason she starts feeling uncomfortable, she technically doesn't really feel like she has an escape, right? She can't get away, she's trapped on a leash. Where, you know, in the case of, say, when that dog barked at her earlier, she was able to run to the other side, right? She can't really do that on the leash. So because of that, we're taking away flight, and then fight really is like the only option at that point, right?
I think the problem is that she'll pull me very hard towards something that she wants, whether it's someone she knows or another dog.
Yep, and then you know, whether it's because we physically can't control her, or just because, you know, like whatever, we just let her kind of get her way in that situation. She's just learning that she's kind of in control of the environment and stuff like that. And again, back to the place where she's making the decision then what's okay and what's not okay. So that's going to be something, you know, obviously starting now, we're going to make sure, you know, if she's trying to pull towards something, like that doesn't work anymore, right? I don't care how hard she's pulling in that direction to go sniff that thing over there. It's not working, right? We're giving the direction here, not her, right? Because that's the same concept is what we're trying to teach her right now is the opposition, right? When she opposes the leash, the only way to stop it is by moving in our direction. Well, she's learned to train you, right? She puts tension on your leash, right? And then you give way to it eventually. So I would say like dogs are very, very good. Like if you look at the concepts and the things that get dogs into trouble in certain areas, it's very, very similar, right? Whether it's how they get praise and affection from us. I'm sure there's a lot of times in your day-to-day where maybe she comes up to you and like maybe puts the paw on you or nuzzles you with her head or something like that, and that's her saying, pet me, right? What's different about that versus her saying, or us saying, sit, right? And asking her to sit and her doing it. She's learning either she has control over us or we have control over her in certain areas. So either you're in a compliant state of mind or she's in a compliant state of mind. And we want to be very aware of those things, because same concept, you know, even though we're dealing with an insecure dog and a fearful dog and stuff like that, that doesn't mean that that's the, you know, like it doesn't have to be the most aggressive dog in the world or the most dominant dog in the world in order for that stuff to get them into trouble, right? Fearful dogs, if you think about it, without our influence, there's a good chance, like if she weren't on a leash and she were in the wild or something, all those things that she's reacting to right now, she would just be running away from them. You know what I mean? She wouldn't be engaging in them. Why would she want to go up to something that she's scared of and start barking at it? You know, she's just going to get the heck out of there. It's when we insert ourselves into the mix when we start getting into trouble, because they learn all these different responses to things through the things that we're doing with them, right? And through the way that we make them feel in their presence and stuff. So by being that strong leader figure and showing her the things that aren't scary, we're going to work you through, and the things that are scary, we're just going to control those things, those outside things, the dogs, the people, stuff like that. We're not going to let those things invade in your space. We're going to make sure that you understand and see us as somebody that's going to have control over those things, right? And that's ultimately what's going to build her confidence. So